It will be the lore you know. I didn't prepare an intro. I mean, I thought about what we would do.
I'll stop eating chocolate.
We could go like wahoo, or perhaps a yippee.
Oh,
That's pretty good, Fran. I wasn't expecting a lot of. We could do the one. Hold on. This is
noises.
That's not. That's a bad one.
Is it?
This is
when it on his head. It goes.
This is when he sits when his butt fall in fire, like when his butt fall in lava. He goes.
Ah! How about thank you so much for playing my game.
Hey there, it's me, CJ from the past, editing this video. It's the present from my perspective, but it's the future from the podcast perspective. Anyway, time's a flat circle. You might be wondering why Ethan, who has a professional grade microphone and has that microphone pointed directly at his face, isn't recording using that microphone and is instead using the tiny shitty microphone on his headphones. Ethan's going through an artistic phase right now, and while we can all agree that it's very avant-garde and cool, I think we can also agree that it sounds very bad. So everyone say, good job at art, Ethan, but bad, and don't do it again, and I will make sure he won't. Okay, back to the podcast. So long, Gay Bowser. Yeah, like
so long, Gay Bowser.
No, we're going to talk about before.
Are we going to talk about so long, Gay Bowser?
No, we can't. We're not even going to get that far. All right, Fran, why don't you introduce the episode? Because let's just do.
Starting.
Yeah, let's just do the episode, man. Let's just do.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's feel it.
Shit.
You know.
After like a strong intro like that, let's just do it.
I have me shouting. That's every intro.
That's everything we need. Welcome to the lore you know. Woohoo! A podcast where some friends into the fantastical and often convoluted lore of media or Mario that we grew up with and love. If you haven't figured that out. And here to bring you the mostly correct facts about made up things this week are me, Fran.
It's a me, Ethan.
Yeah, and I'm CJ. I almost choked my coffee when Fran made me do so. Guys, it is a national holiday. 2 days ago, before this recording, which will be recorded a couple weeks before it actually gets released. But
quite a few.
Don't worry about
it. We're ahead of schedule.
It's a national holiday. It's a Mario Day. MAR10. 10, of course. Being because Mario exists in the cyber realm, in the Digiverse. He exists as code, and we are celebrating him. We did everything right. We were streaming Mario games over twitch.tv/cookingwithspices. If you want to watch some video game content, you should check us out over there.
Yeah,
but
I stayed home and took a bunch of mushrooms.
It makes him feel big. But it also is detrimental to his health in the long run. But that's okay. Ethan is a bright burning star. He will burn brightly and for a short time, so we all must appreciate him while he's here. But to celebrate not only this momentous day, but what's that on the horizon coming soon to theaters near you? A piece of video game media transformed into a movie? Is that even possible? I don't think anyone would do that unless
it's more if it's a good movie or not.
Oh, it will be a good movie. I will say I have seen all the trailers so far. And I'm very disappointed that they released the trailers, because the trailers are just like spoiling the movie. Yeah. I would have liked to see Fire Flower Donkey Kong as a surprise. I would like to see
this is all surprising.
I'd like to see psychotic sociopath Luma in cage in the movie.
Now, I was pleased to see that. I did see that clip on TikTok.
I
love me a
want
good Luma.
I want to see Jack Black Bowser torturing Charlie Day Luigi fresh.
Oh, Jack
But-
Black is Bowser?
He goes, "What the hell? There's Mario Brothers in my castle."
Oh.
No, Jack Black is a highlight of this movie. He's really
know that.
bringing it, and I'm loving it. And I'm as they say, as the kids would say, I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we've got Jack Black as Bowser, and we've got my favorite voice actor, Chris Pratt, is doing Mario. He does such a good job. Really
I haven't
brings
seen any of
it.
those clips,
It's
actually.
like you can feel that he really cares about
He
this
said-
this character and series.
This is my favorite part. So Lizzie said that he was on an interview and he was like, "This Mario voice is not like any voice you've heard before." And then everyone was like, "Okay." And then we heard the trailer and he goes, It's me. It's a me. It's Chris Pratt ready to be Mario. Wahoo." And everyone's like, "Okay." So yeah, we have heard this voice before. It's just Chris Pratt's voice.
Just
He's
not
just
in this context.
right. At
Do you-
least like Charlie Day is not doing like a Luigi voice, but he already kind of sounds like Luigi. He's like a little he's got that like nervous, twitchy energy, and he's kind of like
Right.
he can do that like high strung character, and that's
Does
like
he
a good
sound like-
Luigi.
Does he sound
Right.
like Benny from the Lego movie?
Yeah, a little bit.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spaceship.
I mean, the thing about Chris Pratt's Mario is not just that it's a bad Mario, but that it's a bad cartoon character voice in general. Like, it's just such low
Yeah.
energy and
Right.
unemotive.
It's not. Yeah. It's well, he's doing the same voice that he did for the Lego movie, which in that movie he's just a guy. That's the character. Is he's like a generic Lego
Yeah,
minifigure. But in this
It's
movie,
full
he's
spectrum.
supposed to be Mario. Mario is not low energy. Mario is a wahoo man. He's a yippee
Mario's a
boy.
Wahoo Man. Do you think that maybe Chris Pratt did like 10 takes that were really off the wall high energy, and that's what he thinks is getting in the movie, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's crazy wild
No.
good."
No,
But in fact, like the voice actor, they were like, "How about you do one take just a little lower energy?" And that was the one they
No.
went with.
no.
I would give him the benefit of the doubt that he tried like other voices, and then the people like being the directors were just like, "Can you like give us a little less that and a little more standard Chris Pratt?"
You're both wrong, but Fran's the closest. This is what happened. Chris Pratt went into the recording booth and he went, "Oh, mamma mia! It's a fucking Mario! I love the pizza!" And then the Italian Anti-Defamation League heard him from across the hall and came in there and broke his fucking kneecaps. And they're like, "If you do that shit again, Chris Pratt, you're dead. You're dead, son." Guys, do you want to learn about history today?
Always.
About our little red robed man, red beclothed man?
So, to be clear here, when we decided we were going to do a Mario episode, I talked with CJ for a while about what we wanted to cover and like what we wanted to give people going into this new Mario movie coming up, and he decided this.
Yeah. Listen. Here's the thing. Here at the Lore You Know, it is our mission to bring you all the deep lore of all your favorite things and the most and all the intro things that Fran says.
Yeah.
But also, there's not a lot of lore for Mario generally. They're pretty episodic. He's playing tennis in one. He's go-karting in one. He's playing golf. He's playing board games. He's teaching you how to type. He's just kind of doing a bunch of random things.
He's a doctor in another one too.
And even in the mainline games, they're all kind of framed as stage plays. So if you want the lore, about Mario, then pretty much all Mario games are like stage plays. He's performing on a stage. He's doing this performance, and it's about saving a princess. He's just performing a story. All of the platforms are like little platforms that are connected via wires to the ceiling because it's all on a stage. It's all fake. None of it's real. So the lore for Mario is that this imaginary plumber character is saves a princess on as a stage play, and that's it. So roll music. Here it comes.
Wow.
But
right,
wait,
you can go golf and
Ethan wanted to talk about that or some shit like that. But I said no, Ethan. Don't you see? This is the perfect time for us to all together talk about a very special movie, because there's a new Mario Brothers movie coming out, which is in a way a sequel to a different movie, a separate Mario Brothers movie that already exists. So why talk about video games when we can talk about video games that are also movies, which is like the Mario movie that's coming out right now. So this is a very good plan instead. Let me take you guys back to a dark time in gamer history. I think as a true gamer, we can all relate to these dark times. But the year
before any of us existed.
Yes, exactly. The year is 1983, and video games have died in America. The great video game crash of 83 famously destroyed all of the video game markets in the Americas, and it looked like that video games were just going to be a fad that had come and gone in the 80s, much like parachute pants. Is that the 80s? Again, I didn't exist then. DeLoreans, I think, were gone by the 80s.
Was it? No, Tamagotchis were 90s.
Tamagotchis were 90s.
The video games were making way for the Tamagotchis. It was evolution.
It's true. Well,
Digivolution.
Thank you for that callback, Fran. But fortunately, our brothers overseas in the great land of Japan did not have this issue. In fact, they were entering a new era of video gaming, the era of home consoles. That's right. People were tired of having to go to arcades to go play video games, although they still were doing that a lot and actually had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, also we did have home consoles. They were just like not being successful.
In Americas they were dying, but yeah, in Japan they were growing. As the electronic consumer market, as we have talked about before, in Japan was thriving. And so a little company that had historically made playing cards and then for a while made these things called Game & Watches, which as described were a single video game mixed with a watch that you could carry in your pocket, decided that they were going to make a cool new little home console called the Famicom. And this cool little home console needed a cool little mascot, what was going to bring it into the new generation. And thus, a man is born. A legend is born. It's Mario. He is born. It's a him, Mario. You see, Mario was originally a character that Nintendo had used in their breakout arcade classic Donkey Kong, but in that one he is known as Jumpman. However, he now gets his own title called the Super Mario Brothers. They also used him in a game called Mario Brothers, which is not a game that is very fun, but is an arcade game.
Is that the one where it's like the single view and it has the platforms?
Yes.
There's power block.
Yeah, and you gotta like flip over Coopers and kick them. Yeah, so there's that game. That's just called Mario Brothers, but Super Mario Brothers. That is the breakout hit of 1985. And using the star power that Mario has. That's a little reference to Mario 64. He is able to single-handedly revive the American video game console market as the Japanese market a package deal. One NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, which is what the American name for the Famicom is, bundled with a fun new game, the Super Mario Brothers. And this game took America by storm. It basically revived the home console market and put video games back on the map in America, at least home console video games. And opened up a whole new sector for console markets, which were, trying to distinguish themselves from the home computer market, where you could just play computer games on your old-timey computer. And then you also had to, you also got a computer on the side of that. So, kind of a hard niche to break into. But the game was so fun and addicting that that everyone loved it and started playing it.
It's worth noting that like the video game, because it sounds weird today to think of video games as a like pastime kind of like dying out, right? And it's just worth noting that the games that were coming out before Mario were fucking terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they were great.
The like I mean, and it's not just that they were like old technology, but it's that there were hundreds of just like cash grabs. The vast majority of games then they were just very lazy copy paste of the most popular arcade games.
Yeah.
I think
Well, basically the home console market was trying to make the arcade games at home. That's really all it was.
Right, but they weren't. It wasn't just like the Pac-Man. The people who made Pac-Man want to put Pac-Man on your home arcade, right? It was that 20 other companies want to make a Pac-Man knockoff and try to sell it to you, and so it was just ripe with copy paste bullshit. And
you would play Pong so much.
So
right,
yeah. One of the big issues is like the Atari, for example, had over 100 different video game publishers publishing to it, which doesn't necessarily seem like a lot maybe in today's market, but imagine if there was 100 different publishers publishing just for like the Game Boy Advance. Like that, well, there's only so much you can there's only so much you can do. No, all of the Game Boy Advance games were published by Nintendo.
Were they?
That's where
there's like over 1,500 games.
That's the difference between develop and published. But that's where the Nintendo seal of approval was one of their big marketing ploys for the NES, because they not only were like making this stand for like home consoles, but they were saying, listen, if you buy a Nintendo seal product, we are guaranteeing that this game is good. And once they had a couple hit successes on their hands with the Nintendo seal of approval, it started to win back the market, and they were like, oh, this actually means something. If Nintendo puts this seal onto a game, then it's a good game. And people were starting to buy it again and not feeling as ripped off, instead of getting like E.T. for the Atari, which is notoriously one of the worst games ever made.
Does the Nintendo seal of approval apply to movies?
Interesting question, friend. Do you think perhaps they will put it on there? Because that I would like that if they put a
do you think they put a Nintendo seal of approval on the new Mario movie that's coming out, or the one from 1993?
I'm looking at the seal right now, friend. It doesn't say anything about video games. It just says that this seal is your assurance that Nintendo has approved and guaranteed the quality of this product.
I'm just saying, if the upcoming one has the seal,
get on it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awfully cute if the movie started with the Nintendo seal.
That would be cute. We're gonna do Lizzie and I are gonna make a bingo card for the Mario movie. You guys should do it too. And then we're gonna just like put all the things we think is gonna happen somewhere in the Mario movie that hasn't already been spoiled in the trailers, which is a lot. But then we'll post that up on @SpicesWith on Twitter, and just you can play along if you feel like it.
I'm excited to go into it blind. It'll be a fun time.
It will be a fun time.
Minus the nihilistic Luma, but
so no, that's gonna be a really fun time.
I'm excited about the Luma.
So So yeah, I mean, Nintendo was making, Nintendo, they're not like superheroes, right? It's a company trying to make money, but they had their marketing ploy. It's this like, we're gonna make good games. We're gonna publish all of the games on our systems, so we know everything that's going on to the console, and you as the consumer know that if you are playing on a Nintendo, you're getting a Nintendo game. And I mean, they held fast to that for a really long time, basically through the GameCube. And then we got to the Wii, which is notorious for the vast amounts of shovelware video games that they put on to the Wii.
There's also a lot on the Switch store.
True.
The Switch online store.
I mean,
right.
that's just modern gaming, though.
That's just what modern gaming is. But back then, this was, this was a renaissance for the video game market. So what is the story, the lore of the original Super Mario game? Well, fortunately, I have found a copy of the original game booklet, which outlines the story, because obviously in the game, through technical limitations, a lot of the times you couldn't get the full story just via the playing the video game. But fortunately back then, all video games came with little booklets to give you the story in written form, so that you knew what your goal was, what you were trying to do. So, according to the Mario booklet, the object of the game/game description is: one day the kingdom of the peaceful mushroom people was invaded by the Koopa, a tribe of turtles famous for their black magic. The quiet, peace-loving mushroom people were turned into mere stones, bricks, and even field horsehair plants, and the mushroom kingdom fell into ruin. The only one who can undo the magic spell of the mushroom people and return them to their normal selves is the Princess Toadstool, the daughter of the Mushroom King. Unfortunately, she is presently in the hands of the great Koopa Turtle King. Mario, the hero of the story, parentheses maybe, hears about the mushroom people's plight and sets out on a quest to free the mushroom princess from the evil Koopa and restore the fallen kingdom of the mushroom people. You are Mario. It's up to you to save the mushroom people from the black magic of the Koopa.
This reeks of translation errors.
No. This is Miyamoto's vision in not one iota off of what he wanted. So from the game manual, we know that first off, the King Kooper is a big bad
Kooper?
boy. He's the king of the Koopas.
Okay.
he's not called Bowser as of yet. He's just the King Koopa. He is a magician with black magic, a powerful warlock.
I didn't know he was a magician.
Yeah, he does.
I thought that was just the Magic Koopa.
No. He's a powerful magician. And he leads the Koopa army, which consists mostly of the Koopa Troopas. And he's taken over the Mushroom Kingdom and turned its residents into bricks and such. That is what Mario is hitting to get items out of throughout his adventure. It says in the manual, if you come across mushrooms who have been turned into bricks or made invisible, they reward you by giving you a power boost. And that's where you get your powers. It is important that the mushrooms in the game manual are called magic mushrooms. They are just that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And 80s, I guess.
And it also gives us all the lore with all of the enemies. There's the Bullet Bill. He is a living sentient bullet. There's the Koopa Troopas. They are according
living
to
sentient Koopas.
Yeah, they are apparently timid turtles. That's very cute. There's Lakitu, a mysterious sky turtle who controls the clouds and throws his children at you. Actually, no. The Spinies are their pets of the Lakitus.
I don't think it's his child.
No, they're his pet. They're his pets. There is the Goombas. The Goombas are apparently mushrooms who have betrayed the Mushroom Kingdom. Defectors, if you will, I guess.
Oh.
Oh.
So they're like fucking J.R.R. Tolkien orcs. They're like mushroom people who have become gross and ugly because evil has entered their hearts.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they're not just they're not like toads that have turned evil. It just says they are mushrooms who've betrayed the mushroom kingdom. So I guess they were just mushrooms, just the little like magic mushrooms at one point, and then they became evil, which made them grow legs and have hatred for plumbers. So yeah, very strange. Um, by the way, I'm pretty sure Mario's just a plumber because he travels through pipes. I don't think there's any other reason. Like you never see him plumb on screen. I think he just knows how to navigate the pipes. I think that's his canonical reason for being a plumber.
Yeah, that's like his canonical reason. And the whole concept was like that they wanted to have a hero who felt like relatable, like he's an everyman hero, not like a mystical knight or whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't some of his design decision also because of the limitations of the graphics? Like they purposely
every sprite in a NES game can only have 4 colors, and one of them was transparent. So Mario is only 3 colors.
Yeah, I think that was part of his character choice design, wasn't it? Because they're like, okay, we have to make him noticeable and visible.
Yeah, well, and they needed like and they had like 2 characters, and they were like, well, one will be red and one will be green because those are both like primary colors in the like the display on a screen. So and then the backgrounds were blue. So fun fact. Also, I guess he is called Bowser in this one. He's called Bowser, King of the Koopa. So I guess he's always been Bowser. But the Toads are still called the Mushroom Retainers. They're, I guess, the Princess Toadstool's court. She's not known as Peach yet. But the most important thing is that in this manual, the little squids are called bloobers. So from now on, I'm calling them bloobers. That's what the manual says, and I like that name better. It makes more sense, quite honestly, because they go blue, 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 blue.
Okay, we have to get into the deep lore here. We gotta get into it.
All right. Well, all you need.
I feel like bloobs are deep lore.
All you need. That's true. That's a very deep cut. All you need to know about the original game is that Bowser can turn people into rocks, and that you hit the rocks to destroy them, killing that person, I guess. But sometimes they give you 1-ups and such.
Oh.
A life for a life.
That's right, Fran. And that's pretty much the first game. It introduces all of our characters and all of Mario's kind of like main move set, which is mostly just running and jumping. He's just a running and jumping man. But
the Jumpman, if you will.
The Jumpman, if you will. So Mario's going to go on to be pretty popular, as we now know in retrospect. So Mario came out, or Super Mario Brothers came out in 1985, and we're going to kind of time lapse over 8 years. But in that 8 years, we have SMB1, Super Mario Brothers, SMB2, which, as Fran pointed out, it came out the same year as SMB3 because it was originally a different game, and then they just reskinned it to be a Mario game because it is based heavily on Japanese lore of like Japanese ritual that make no sense to an American audience. So they're like, oh, put a Mario in it. If you put a Mario in it, they'll buy it. And then they kind of did. But the game is still really weird. It's certainly a departure from the rest of the series.
I played that game so much on my Game Boy Advance.
It also introduced the Shy Guys, who are cute little boys and who, in retrospect, don't match any of the aesthetic of really any of the Mario characters up until that point. But
there's only one other game to think about, so.
True. But they are in that Mario game, so obviously we've got the story from the first one. In the second one, it is all a dream. So none of it matters. Mario was having a dream about Well, that's not true. Okay, listen. I'll go over this. I don't want to talk about Doki Doki Panic and SMBT too much, but listen. There in the original Doki Doki Panic, which is what it's the reskin of, it's what it originally was, and they reskinned as Mario. There is a magical storybook that comes to life when you read it, and then the villain of the storybook tears out the last page where he's defeated, and so he becomes the almighty sorcerer King Wart, who's a giant frog, and he rules the storybook land, and he uses his power to suck in a child from a family, and the family then decides that they need to go save the child that was sucked into the book by the evil King Wart. And so you can play as Papa, who's very strong but doesn't jump good, or you can play as Mama, who can jump and float because she wear dress. And you can play as the kidnapped child's brother, who is all arounder, I guess. And you can play.
I think he run the fastest.
No, Papa run the fastest, but only when he's holding stuff. And then you can play. He's strong, so when he's holding, he's Toad. Toad runs the fastest, but only when he has an object in his hand, when he's carrying things. And then there's the brother's girlfriend or wife or whatever, and then she jumped the highest. She has high jump,
super high.
So they reskinned it so that Papa became Toad, where he can lift whenever he's holding things, he runs the fastest. Mama became Peach, who can float in the air. The brother became Mario, who's just kind of a dude. And the girlfriend became Luigi, who jumped the highest. So then they go through the adventure and they beat the king because, of course, as they learn from the storybook, the king has a weakness, which is vegetables, and so they feed him a bunch of vegetables, thus defeating him,
so many radishes,
freeing the child, and releasing them. But then when they reskinned it for Mario, that's impossible to explain. That doesn't make any sense. I just tried to explain it, and you think I'm a crazy person. So they said it was all a dream Mario was having, and then he says, "Thank you so much for playing my dream," and the game was over. So.
It's a fun game.
Lore behind the second game, it was all a dream. Third game, SMP3, it also happens. Again, is framed like a stage play. There's curtains that open and reveal the game.
The capes, right?
It had
Tanuki suits.
It had the leaf, the Tanuki suit, the raccoon.
The American version, it was a cape, though, right?
No, that is
Super Mario World.
That's Super Mario World, which also has come out in the span of time, which introduced the cape, introduced amazing 16-bit color because it's now on the Super Famicom.
Whoa.
And introduced a little cute guy. Maybe you heard of him. His name's Yoshi. He's just a little fella, and you want to give him a kiss.
Feed him all the apples.
You feed him everything. He eats everything and everyone who gets in his path.
But apples.
You can feed him apples. You can feed him living sentient creatures. Yoshi don't care.
Yeah.
Yoshi doesn't have a thought in his head. He just consumes. And Mario uses him like a tool for his.
He's very mean to Yoshi. He hits him in the head.
He does.
Get his tongue to come out.
Listen, there's a lot of
very aggressive.
There's a lot of controversy over whether he hits them or whether he's just pointing at a thing and telling Yoshi to eat
hitting
them.
That Yoshi in the skull.
It doesn't matter because Yoshis are expendable to Mario. He doesn't care about the Yoshis, okay? I know that you don't like animal abuse if you don't like the thought of Yoshi getting hit on the head, but A, Yoshi's a dinosaur, not an animal. And B, let's not treat Mario as if he truly cares about the Mushroom Kingdom and his people. He does this for glory alone.
Right. And I mean, also, even though Yoshi does not speak our tongue, he is a sentient being, so it's not really animal abuse, it's like slave abuse.
Yeah,
So
basically.
it's
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it's much
it-
but better.
In fairness, the Yoshis that he uses would be newborn babes. So it's
Child abuse?
yeah, I mean basically, but from a different
Okay.
species. So I don't know.
Child abuse.
People eat veal, Fran. What I mean, what do you want? It's the same thing. If you eat veal, you can't be pro Yoshi. That's just how it works.
Wait. What? What's veal?
Fran, do you not know what veal? Oh my god, Fran, veal is just baby.
Isn't it lamb?
No, veal is
Oh.
baby cow, and they like chain the
Mhm.
babies up so they can't move around because it makes the meat taste bad.
What?
Yeah, they like put them in
Okay.
tiny cages so they can't move.
And then
Okay,
they
well,
hit
that
them on the
sounds
head
terrible.
so that their tongue come out and eat things.
Ew.
That's
Is that where cow tongue comes from then?
no, that's Yoshi. But yeah, don't eat veal. Just don't.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
Why
it's-
is that a thing?
Well, because
Because
it's
it's
tasty,
delicious.
I guess it's because
Is
it's
it?
delicious. Fran,
I-
quite honestly, if you're
Okay.
gonna draw the line at that for animal cruelty, we can't get into the complicated relationship that modern people have with their food and how like distant they are from them, Fran. We can't do that. We're talking about Mario. Stop
sorry. I'm
talking
sorry.
about this. How did you get me to talk about veal? It doesn't matter. Mario is
God.
here, and
CJ's
those
always bringing up veal.
those games happen. Stop eating veal. Those games happen, and they're cool. People love them. But now we have exited the tubular realm of the 80s and have entered the radical realm of the 90s. And it's
Whoa.
the
So radical.
and it's the early 90s. And what does everyone want to do in the early 90s? That's right. They want to monetize video games, small potatoes. No one, it's still pretty niche market, all things considered. They haven't got the widespread appeal of other forms of media. And so what is Nintendo trying to do? That's right. They're trying to expand the brand. All right. They want to branch out. Okay. They want to market their favorite plumber. And the best way to do that is, that's right, a movie, Fran. But not just any movie. Because listen, animation, that's expensive. Also, there was an animated Mario series called the Super Mario Brothers Show. And it's
Oh,
very
that's
It was
right, there was.
half animated.
and it had live action parts and animated parts.
No.
It was amazing, Fran.
Okay,
and I
well, you
love
can
it.
Teach me about that later.
And I love it. And Luigi goes, "Look, Mario, I made this football." And then Mario goes, "Luigi, that's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it." And then he goes, "Oh, Mario, catch!" And then he throws the rock at him. And it's like, why? What are you talking about? They're just talking about a rock that he found that looked like a football, and he threw it at his brother, and he like knocks him over. That's like a bit they do. It's like a skit show. It's amazing.
It's crazy. The Mario TV show was fucking insane because
Was it
was
produced in America or Japan?
it was, I believe, produced in America, and I believe that because this was the era when celebrities would go on like Sesame Street, right?
Yeah.
To get their cred with their kids and all that stuff. And the Mario show would regularly take on B and C list celebrities in the live action part, and for just like super weird like bits that made no sense to children, probably made no sense to adults either, and then they would just like throw animation in like the middle of it. They would cut
This
to
happened
like
in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know when this one came out.
think-
Was it late 80s?
I think it was
Because
the
everyone's
late
on cocaine
80s.
at that point, so
Uh-huh.
it's just
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, it was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. You should watch it. Also, this is around the same time that the Legend of Zelda animated series came out, which is very
Oh.
bad.
Well, excuse me,
Nin-
princess.
Nintendo, let me go get my stuff. So Nintendo stopped doing animation for a while, and
Fair.
hasn't really since, which is how good
Till now.
it's how good everything has been going with that. And what started it all? Well, what started the movie industry, not just TV shows? The very first movie adaptation of a video game came out in the great year of our Lord, 1993, a very special year for a lot of us. And it
Was
is
Mario really the first video game
the
adapted movie?
first video game adapted to the silver screen.
Wow.
Came out in
Madness.
1993 and was called the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I
And
never knew it was the first one. That's interesting.
boy howdy did they take some liberties. All right. We've finally
The concept, I'm sorry, but just the concept that this was the first video game movie, and then they made more.
set the
Like-
tone. Set the tone. You like the Mortal Kombat movie? Better thank your friendly local Mario. Do you like the Prince of Persia movie with eye candy Jake Gyllenhaal? Well, let me tell you, that would never have happened without your favorite plumbing duo breaking new ground. Do you like? Did they make that
Resident
Assassin's
Evil?
Creed movie? Did they do
these
that?
I don't know.
I heard it
I
was
feel
really
like
bad.
what you're looking for is the Street Fighter movie where Adam Gomez is M. Bison.
I don't care about that, Ethan.
You don't care?
That's
Whoa,
90s
what?
movie, right?
Sorry.
That
Ethan.
movie is so fucking good, dude.
When I watched it last, I was like really bored. Maybe I was too young, I don't know, but I was like, there's talking a lot. They're like in crowds a lot. I don't know.
There's also the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, I like that one better.
Yeah. For Ethan, the day he watched the Street Fighter movie was the most important day of his life. For CJ, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, basically. But no. First and foremost, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, the Super Mario Brothers movie is, of course, a live action movie because, of course it is. Of course it is. Listen, you have hot IP on your hands. You need to make something that is memorable. And no one's ever made a video game movie before. And all the video games so far for this series have almost no story to them. Remember, you're just a guy moving from left to right on the screen, right? You have the enemies, and you have a general plot, which is that you're saving a princess, or in Super Mario World, you're saving the Yoshis. And apart from that, you don't have a lot to go off of to make, a movie, a story, a plot. And so the writers for this movie took a big swing. Just like pointed out all the way out to left field and was like, there's where we're going. And they had a vision and they made it, man. They did
and the referee was like, we're playing soccer here. I don't know. What are you doing? He's like, nope. Home run I call right now.
Here's the thing.
Did you look into the production history of this movie?
I mean,
at all?
not greatly wide. What do you want to know?
So
we do lore here, Fran.
I was gonna tell you things about it.
Okay.
The movie was originally written for children, right?
Yeah.
But then
the movie was not made for children. I'll tell you that, having seen it.
It was originally going to be made for children.
Right.
But then Disney got the distribution rights to it. And then they said, you need to fix this. And they had them start filming lots of scenes with strippers and shit.
Yeah, there were a lot of scenes with strippers and shit.
That was because Disney got the distribution rights. And they're like, we need this to be different.
Disney loves putting strippers in their movies. I can't tell you how many times they do that.
That's how you got this abomination of
No. Here's the thing. I want to say this right off the top. All right. This film,
abomination in a bad way.
This film got a lot.
Absurdity.
This film did not do well. It got a lot of flack when it came out. It was very weird. People weren't a huge fan. I love this movie. And I've seen it many times now. And every time I watch it, I like it more. Okay? This is a great movie. The first time I watched it ironically because I heard it was a bad movie and it was about video games. And I watched it and I was like, I like this movie, actually. And then the second time I watched it, I genuinely enjoyed it. And I took in all of the picturesque details that I was getting, that the actors and the director and the set designers clearly had a vision, okay? And it was fantastic. This is a great movie. And if you want to watch it, it is on the Internet Archive, the government-run Internet Archive, because it's a national treasure. Enshrined, you can watch it for free whenever you want on the internet. It's amazing.
After you watch this crap new movie and you want to see something of quality, you can go watch the.
I don't think the new movie's gonna be as good as the old movie. I'll be very upfront. I think the new movie's gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be this good. And I'm gonna tell you why, Ethan. Are you ready to hear about what happens in the Super Mario Brothers movie 1993?
No, but go for it, my man.
65 million years ago, the dinosaurs roamed the land, Ethan. And what were the dinosaurs doing? That's right. They were drawn in like Microsoft Paint and animated eating grass and being like, num num num, life is good, isn't it? And then the other dinosaurs goes, yeah, I couldn't see life getting any better. And then they're talking, having a good time, and then fizzle out of Microsoft Paint, which is weird because it's the only scene that looks like that, and cut to CGI meteor striking the Earth. And now we have a beautiful voiceover by Bob Hoskins. Bob Hoskins. I can never say his name right.
Hoskins.
We have a beautiful voiceover by Bob Hoskins. And he says, a lot of people think that the meteor wiped out the dinosaurs. But what if instead the meteor strike actually caused our dimension to split into two dimensions, one of which the dinosaurs survived and continued to evolve in a parallel universe, always connected to ours, but on its own evolutionary path. And then we go, yeah. And then we check the title again to make sure we are watching the correct movie. And yes, we are still watching the Mario movie.
So I'm sorry that I'm already lost. I'm just
we're about I would say 30 seconds into the movie, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. We'll say I'm not mature enough for this one, so I need you to break it down for me, CJ.
Mm-hmm.
So, in our universe, the meteor crashed and killed the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In their universe, it did nothing. It just broke the dimension.
The meteor broke off the dinosaurs into that dimension. So I guess they're gone because they're there now.
Yeah, they weren't killed off. They were put into a separate
Some
dimension.
of them were killed off because dinosaur bones still exist in our world, but they continued to exist in the other world.
So it's not that there's a timeline split.
No,
it's that this meteor created a pocket dimension,
an alternate dimension. Yeah. See, you got it, Ethan.
Okay. Yeah, all right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay. By the way, this meteor struck Brooklyn, as we all know, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs struck in present-day Brooklyn.
The pocket dimension is centered in Brooklyn. Yes.
Correct. Yes. Next, we fast forward a little bit. It's now 20 years. It's now 20 years ago, according to this movie, which would have been in the 70s. But I guess now is just.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Here's the problem. In this movie, they do show the Twin Towers, and if it was 20 years ago from today, it would be 2003. So, now we are in an alternate universe with less terrorism. So a better one, but we'll use our imagination. But it's 20 years ago and it's raining heavily and a woman runs through the streets cradling a basket and she's running to the nearest church, slams on the door and then runs away. And of course, a nun comes out of the church and sees this basket. She opens up and it's this strange metallic pod. And inset into the metallic pod is a crystalline shard that is delicately placed on top. And the nun is like, oh, whoa, this is weird. So she calls in all the other nuns and she takes the pod inside and the pod opens to reveal that it was carrying an egg, Ethan, a giant egg. And instead of smashing this abomination to God, which is what I think a nun would do, instead the egg hatches and out of the egg comes a baby girl. and she's crying. And instead of throwing this abomination to God baby girl down a well, which is probably what nuns in a Catholic church would do, they decide to keep the baby and raise it, which I think probably churches get pretty tired of people leaving babies at their doorstep, especially during like the 90s. That was kind of a big trope, is that they just like
70s.
Well, all throughout that time, they're just like, bring your unwanted babies to the police department. I would think is usually where
the
people
fire department.
Right, is usually. I don't know if you want to leave them with the Catholic Church, quite honestly.
Yeah, we just didn't know then. Unless we did, I don't know.
People read The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I guess to them the moral of the story was the church will take your unwanted babies. Which is a weird moral to pull from that story, but I guess it is one that technically makes sense. So, all right.
It is amoral.
Is it amoral, Fran, or is it amoral?
Ah.
Oh, who is the real monster, Fran? Is it man?
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. It's like, the church is like, oh, you shouldn't do an abortion. And I believe at that time, like, some churches, too, were like, oh, condoms are bad. Like, you shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. And so it's like, all right, well, fuck you. You can have the baby then.
I was going to say, do you think this is all a plot for the church to acquire more babies? I mean, like...
No, I don't think this is the church's plot.
I think that's want just their congregation to multiply, but I think that they don't want to just have a bunch of babies.
No, I don't think that that's the church's plot. I think that's just people's response, right? When they're like, all right, well, you're the one who told me not to get an abortion. You can deal with the baby now.
This is a very heated episode that's about Mario.
We just made a pocket dimension in the first 30 seconds. It's gonna be a heated episode about Mario.
The next 30 seconds, there's an orphan baby. She's not orphan. She's abandoned. She's not orphan. And she came out an egg, and
it's a human girl.
And it's a human girl, or is it? It's a girl.
Looking girl.
It looks like a human baby.
Human appearance of a child.
Fantastic. Now we fast forward to modern time. Brooklyn. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. We come across our protagonists, two down on their luck plumber duos, a pair of brothers, in fact, who are broke and just trying to find work wherever they can get it. And it is indeed the Mario brothers, played, of course, by legendary actor Bob Hoskins as Mario and John Leguizamo in his breakout role as Luigi. You might know him as Bruno, the guy from Encanto.
Oh, I didn't know he was also Bruno.
Oh yeah, but we don't talk about Bruno, and that's a good little Disney. That's a good little Disney joke, Fran, that I absolutely set you up for. You fool! Okay. You fell right into my joke trap. Joke in huge quotation marks, trap in little quotation marks.
Well, let's cut this in quotation marks and get back to my favorite childhood actor, Bob Hoskins.
Listen, he's no longer with us, but he's always with us in our hearts. So these two brothers are the Mario brothers. Mario Brothers Plumbing, which is, by the way, it seems like the new movie is kind of taking the same approach with, like two regular plumbers from the regular world as the protagonists. So came from this movie first. Keep that in mind. The two of them are trying to get work, but they can't because this big businessman, Anthony Scapelli, is taking all the jobs. He's got all these plumber guys running around taking all the good plumbing jobs. And these guys, they're just trying to make a living out here in the cutthroat borough of Brooklyn.
The great plumbing work shortage of 93.
Listen, it's not that there's a work shortage, it's just that he keeps stealing all the jobs before they can get there.
He's got so many plumbers.
He's got a lot of plumbers, all right? How are these two brothers going to make it out here in New York? Everyone's talking like that the whole time, by the way. I'm not just...
Yeah.
He goes, Mario, I'm Mario. You're Mario, brother. What are we gonna do, Luigi? And then Luigi's like, I don't know, brother. We'll figure out some way. We've already got some character traits for Mario and Luigi. Mario's, the older brother. He's wiser. He's like the master plumber. And he is kind of the father figure, also his brother for Luigi, who he raised because it was just the two of them boys. And as Luigi reveals later, he never knew their mom and dad. Apparently, Mario did know his dad because he taught him the plumbing arts. But by the time Luigi came around, I guess they are gone. So it's just Mario and Luigi now. So it's a lot more like gritty, kind of interpretation of these plumber boys.
Yeah, it's just, hey, Mario, why is our last name Mario? Because I ain't taking that last name from that no good piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't think he is. It didn't sound like he had problems with his old man. It sounds like he's just dead because he says that his father taught him how to be a plumber, and his father taught him how to be a plumber. It's a family art, Luigi. You gotta learn the family art. But Luigi's kind of a slacker. He loves playing video games and watching. It does that great 90s thing where he's like watching a TV show that is just exactly pertinent to the plot, where they're doing like this History Channel Ancient Aliens show where it's like, do two parallel worlds live beside each other, always separated but still connected? And he said always separated but connected. And I'm like, well, that's not how that works.
That's not how pocket dimensions work, but sure.
But he's like a good spirit, and he loves his brother, and the two of them are hard workers together. So they're just trying to make a living out here. And then so we get we get the introduction to the brothers and to this no good businessman Anthony Scapelli, who's taking all the jobs, and also he's like he's the owner of this like a big contractor building all the buildings in Brooklyn. All right, he's a land developer, the most evil man there is. And then we cut now to a young woman who is a college student, and she is studying, I guess, anthropology or archaeology, or just like she digs up bones for a living, and she loves talking about dinosaur bones. And they've made an exciting new discovery, because when Scapelli's men were digging up the ground to put in a new building, they uncovered some dinosaur bones in the ground underneath Brooklyn. You know how there's all those dinosaur bones under Brooklyn.
Well, there's a pocket dimension there, I guess.
Well, they discovered all of the bones under Brooklyn, so the college said, hey, stop. We're turning this into an archaeological dig site. And Scapelli doesn't like that. He wants to build his buildings.
Forget about it. He says,
I'm going to build these buildings. You can't stop me. The college can't stop me from building these buildings. But this
is the next hour of my life.
The school prevents him from building, and he's trying to like sabotage their archaeological dig because he wants to build his buildings there. But this young woman, whose name is Daisy, she is trying to prevent him from doing that. She's kind of a tree hugger, but for ancient dinosaur bones. She's a young activist.
Listen, if there was trees in Brooklyn, I would hug them, but there ain't none.
Oh, we got rid of them.
This is how Daisy talks.
Yeah, everyone talks like that. No, Daisy talks normal. What I would say is normal.
Whoa.
Listen, the way that Mario and Luigi are talking, I don't think anyone actually speaks like that. Maybe you do. Maybe, you know what? Maybe people in Brooklyn do talk like that, but it's very cartoonish the way that they speak. So it sounds like Brooklyn maybe ain't so bad if people go around talking like this.
If you're from Brooklyn and you can give us some insight, please leave a comment and tell us.
Yeah, let me know how good my thing is. I think it's good. I'm doing it exactly how Bob Hoskins did, and he's a professional actor. So Hoskins. All right.
Okay.
So, this Scapelli piece of shit, he's intimidating Daisy. He's like, I don't know, a lot of women have been going missing lately. It would be a shame if that happened to you. Which is wild, because as we figure out later, he has nothing to do with the women going missing in the city. Like it sounds like he's like sinisterly behind all this, but he's not. He's just like, it would be a shame if you went missing. But do stay out of my business, unrelated to that.
Pro tip, don't just go around to women and saying that.
That was the 90s. You could threaten women all you want.
No, so you want them to get out of your way, so you just kind of give them, a little, like, scary death threat,
Yeah.
But as we see, Daisy is indeed in trouble because she's being tailed by 2 ne'er-do-wells who are trying to kidnap her. And she's evading them through the streets. They're trying to kidnap her in the middle of the day, which is not usually when you try and kidnap a woman. So she's able to avoid them. But as she's trying to avoid these 2 men, she comes across the Mario brothers. They have their trucks broken down and they're trying to fix it because these just hard workers out here trying to make a living, doing what we can. And Luigi is immediately infatuated with Daisy. And he's no good at talking to girls. He's very stuttery. He doesn't know what to say. He's tripping over his words a lot. But Mario, he's a ladies' man. He's there to wingman for his brother, and he's like, oh, I think what my brother here is saying that we can give you a ride in the old truck if you need to get a ride out of here. And then,
but listen, all I'm saying is that a lot of ladies been disappearing lately. If you didn't go with my brother, I'd hate.
It'd be a shame if something happened to you out here.
So, question.
Yeah.
So, in the Mario fandom universe, whatever, Mario's with Peach, right? Like, that's a thing. Is this the origin of Luigi being with Daisy?
No,
or is this a thing or is that something that's happened in the games before?
Daisy is introduced in Super Mario Land, which is one of the games that was happened in the time span.
I don't know if I've played that one.
It is a Game Boy game.
It is original Game Boy.
It is the origination of the Super Ball, which is a power-up Mario never uses anymore. Because the Power Ball, you throw it and it bounces on the screen like a screensaver. So you don't really need that in a game, but it was on the Game Boy it made sense. And it's really cool. But in the Game Boy game, Mario goes to Daisy's kingdom and saves Daisy in that one.
Is Daisy's kingdom dinosaur based?
It's desert based. She's
weirdly Egyptian themed.
She's the king. She's the kingdom of Saraslaha.
Yeah. So she was.
Well, you don't know that, Fran?
AKA Brooklyn.
Well, this one is Brooklyn.
she was introduced in that one, but she kind of stuck around because the sports games and the go-kart games and all of that stuff.
Another lady.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the basic thing is that they would have like counterparts, right? So Mario would have his partner Luigi for like tennis and such,
and then Yoshi had
Peach.
Birdo.
Right, and so Peach needed a partner, and so it was Daisy. And then by extension, since people like to couple Mario and Peach, people couple Daisy and Luigi.
Okay, all right.
But this would have predated people coupling them because Daisy was just introduced, but Mario Tennis was a ways out, and that was the first time you could play as Daisy. So I don't know. Maybe people were throwing it around.
I'm going to say that this movie was the origination of the Luigi Daisy ship.
I get it's a pretty easy extension. There's only 2 women in the whole series, and there's only 2 main characters.
Like
so yeah. So I don't know. It's not that far of a stretch, but so Daisy agrees with the Mario Brothers offer, and she goes and gets in with them, and then they travel off and they get out of reach of the guys that were following her, and Luigi awkwardly asks her if she wants to go on a date, and she agrees. And so
also pro tip, don't ask a woman out on a date while she's like trying to run from stalkers.
I mean, I'm just saying it would be a shame if something happened to you
while they are like in duress. Like,
well, they got her. They got her out of duress, and then she likes Luigi's. She likes his earnestness.
His spunk.
No, I would say he's more just earnest. And so they go out on a double date. Luigi is with Daisy, and Mario is with his girlfriend. Of course, his girlfriend Daniela, as we all know. Who?
Is that the name of the girl from Donkey Kong?
Nope, that's
No,
Pauline.
Paulina.
I thought she was supposed to be Pauline, but she's not. This is just This is just Daniela.
Okay.
Mario's a bit of a ladies' man, though, so who knows how many girlfriends he has, because he uses his Mario charm a couple times in this movie to great effect.
It is true. I guess side lore here, but like all of the Mario RPG kind of series, like Paper Mario, Super Mario RPG, like women just are all over this plumber man. They're just like, this is the sexiest. This is the sexiest creature that has ever existed. This Mario, and I lust for him.
Cannot get enough. So, while they're on their double date, Daisy reveals that she has a necklace that is an ancient piece of stone, the very stone we saw in the opening scene. She is indeed the baby that hatched from the egg. And she says that this is the only thing that she has from her childhood because she grew up in the church. And so we now know that Daisy is some sort of lizard person. She was born from an egg. And
there's plenty of other creatures that are born from eggs. We don't know that she's a lizard person.
Okay, that's fair. So she's some sort of bird or
egg
reptile
person.
Or amphibian. And
or fish.
Or fish.
She's some
fair
sort
enough.
of egg-based person.
You're right. Basically anything but a mammal.
I mean, it would be so hard to tell too, because like Luigi would be, oh, your hands are so cold, like you're cold-blooded or something. She's like, no, I'm just a girl.
That's just women. Yeah, what you guys need to work on that. Pump blood.
I can't fix my circulation.
Pump blood harder. Come on, Fran. All right.
My hands get so cold during my work day.
All right.
Like, I have to wear gloves at like 2 o'clock.
So, Daisy's able to escape, but the two people following her are still tailing them. And these guys are kind of bumbling fools. They're very lovable scamps as the movie goes on. They're so stupid, and they're constantly doing this like back and forth, like Two Stooges thing, and I love them. Mm-hmm. And they only get better as the movie goes on. But apparently, they have been trying to kidnap Daisy for a long time, but keep messing up and just taking random women, which is where the random women went, which means that other guy had nothing to do with the kidnappings. He was just like, be careful out there, people are getting kidnapped. It's these two guys, these two clowns who are trying to kidnap Daisy, but keep fucking it up. But anyway.
What happens to the women that they do kidnap?
We'll see. Accident. We'll see, Fran. Because they do end up kidnapping Daniela. That's right. They fucked it up again. They can't tell any of these.
Classic.
They can't tell any of these white women apart, and so they. A little racist. And so they kidnap Daniela on accident. But the Mario brothers don't actually know this because they just do it while she's off screen. And so then Daisy is talking about how much she loves archaeology, and she's like a fanatic, and she's like, "You must think I'm crazy." And Luigi's like, "No, I think it's cool that you like things." And then she's like, "Do you want to see the dinosaur bones?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to see the bones." And then they go underground, and the underground of Brooklyn is, of course, a big system of pipes and tubes. And
with dinosaur bones.
Mm-hmm, with dinosaur bones in them, in the tubes. Weird place to put tubes, but you know.
And the tubes don't have any water or anything in, like.
No, they're just big concrete cylinders, which maybe that's how you build stuff. I don't know.
No, that's just the natural, like, that's
definitely
not.
Natural
like carved
the city just pays me to put pipes in. They don't pay me to move dinosaur bones.
God. All right, so while they are looking at the dinosaur bones, Daisy goes, "This is a new species of dinosaur. It has thumbs," which is weird, but that's cool. New dinosaur that was evolving thumbs. But while they're looking at these dinosaur bones, a couple of these Scapelli goons come out, and they sabotage the site, and now it's flooding with water. They broke the pipes, and now there's water everywhere. And she goes,
I thought they couldn't install pipes.
Well, they can't.
That's
They
the whole
can't.
point.
They can't anymore. That's they
Oh.
like prevented the building because they discovered these bones. So
Okay.
so they're like, she's like, Daisy's like, Luigi, they're gonna flood. What are we gonna do? And he's like, I know what to do. So he goes and gets Mario, and he's like, brother, they're flooding the underground. They're ruining everything. Those Scapelli goons. And he goes, oh, I hate this Scapelli guy. I'll come fix it. So Mario comes using his amazing plumbing skills. He's able to repair the pipes and save the dinosaur bones. And
By the way, this is still the Super Mario Brothers movie, just in case.
yeah,
anyone-
obviously Mario just fixed the pipes.
Yeah.
What
As
already
he does in his video game namesake. Yeah.
Exactly. But while they are doing this, those two goons come back. Not the Scapelli goons, the kidnappers. Because they realized again they made a mistake. But this time they're like, hey, that's Daisy. So they grab her and they knock out the Mario brothers, and then they take her through the pipes. And this is where we figure out that Luigi has a horrible sense of direction. That's one of his quirky little character traits. And then I don't know why this stuck out, but Luigi's like, this way. And then Mario goes, no, Luigi, that's her echo. It's this way. And he's like, how do you know? And Mario says, I've been listening to the pipes all my life. And and then they chase after. So Mario's a plumber through and through, okay? He listens to the pipes, okay? He can hear them speak to him, all right?
Oh my god.
And then they chase after Daisy, and these two kidnappers take Daisy through a stone wall, but the wall is some sort of semi-permeable magical membrane, and they just dissolve through it. And then Luigi's like, we gotta follow her. And then Mario's like, that's crazy. And then Luigi reaches out to grab Daisy and save her, but instead all he can get is her necklace with the stone in it. And Daisy is stolen away into the other world. And so Luigi jumps in after her, and then Mario jumps in after him, and they get teleported, through the Doctor Strange, or the Doctor Who intro with the TARDIS, and he's like flying through the tube. It's like that, kinda.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I'm not trying to shit talk this movie. It's been amazing so far, but they really should have had the teleporter be a big green pipe.
Well, there's other pipes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it should have been a big green pipe, and when they go through, it should have gone like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
This is okay. So this part is why I didn't like this movie the first time I saw it when I was a kid. Do you guys know when you carve a pumpkin and you've got the inside of the pumpkin, it's all gooey and sticky, and you don't like that? So this whole movie is kind of themed around that.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's got a bunch of like
that kind
stringy,
of
fibrous stuff everywhere, which we are told is the fungus.
Okay, so we're back. Are we back to the concept of 90s kids like gross shit?
I think that's what it is.
It's also supposed to be the Mushroom Kingdom,
right?
So
they're like the show does the show producers, geniuses. They're like Mushroom Kingdom, but what's mushroomy about this? This is just an alternate reality. Fungus everywhere, just everywhere. And as we learned, the fungus is choking out the city. So the fungus is all among us. The fungus among us, okay? We finally learn who is behind all of these dastardly deeds. Who sent these two boys, who are, by the way, Spike and Iggy. Maybe you've heard of them. Some of the Koopa cousins. And they are Koopa cousins. They call each other cousin. And they were, of course, sent by Koopa himself, who he's not called Bowser, he's just called Koopa, and he is the leader of this land. He's a cutthroat politician-style man who wants complete control over the Mushroom Kingdom.
And he is also based off of our favorite president, Donald Trump.
I don't know about that. I will.
He is.
I think he's based off Trump.
No,
he is.
He's got he doesn't talk like him or act like him. His main character traits are he hates humans because he thinks they are just evolved monkeys, which, I mean, I guess.
Okay.
And he's a germaphobe, which is a weird character trait, but he hates germs and he hates the fungus. And like to outline what this world is, it's like an alternate Brooklyn. It's like a cityscape, but it's like a weird punk version of that. There's like crime everywhere. There's a lady walking her baby, which is a egg, because they're reptile people. They evolved from reptiles in this world. They're all human-ish. Some of them are more reptile than others, which is weird because some humans aren't more like monkey than other humans, but whatever. In this world, they all kind of, you know, were evolved into different types of lizard people. And they still lay eggs, and that's their babies. And then someone just steals this baby in the middle of the street. They're like, that's mine. So there's crime everywhere is what this scene is meant to denote.
This just sounds like Brooklyn.
And on top of that, I don't think there's any
let us know in the comments
gasoline or oil in the city, because all the cars are like electric cars, but the electricity comes from these weird but it's not like electric cars like that. It's like they're like bumper cars where they have the little like metal things that connect to the rails above them.
I really like that they had the foresight that they couldn't have gasoline because the dinosaurs evolved.
Right.
Yeah, because there's no dinosaurs that are running.
That's pretty fucking good.
This movie's genius. I told you this movie's genius.
That's a good goof.
Right there.
That's a good goof.
But what we do know about this world is that it is lacking resources. The food is bad, the water's bad, the air is bad, and the fungus is choking out the city. So also, I guess this city is a city that is just a monolithic city, and then the rest of their planet is just barren desert wasteland. He shows a globe of the planet, and it's just barren desert wasteland, and then the one city on it. So this is the only thing that exists in the parallel world.
Sure.
So, and then we get a bunch of cute.
As we know, the dinosaurs only lived in the area of Brooklyn.
Exactly. Thank you, Fran.
Yep.
And then we get cute little in jokes. There's a bar called Bullet Bills, and I like that. And there's little like all of the police don't have guns. They have fireball launchers because they shoot fireballs. Like the games, Ethan, they shoot fireballs sometimes. And Daisy's been kidnapped. They can they do the thing where they see her across the city, and she's like, Luigi, and they're like, Daisy, and they are taking Daisy to Koopa because he thinks that she is the key to his master plan. And on top of that, he needs, we don't know yet, Fran, but he also needs that piece of meteor. It's a meteor piece, by the way. The necklace with the rock in it. It's a shattered fragment of the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago.
Oh my god, it's a Shikon jewel shard.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Not that we've gone over Inuyasha yet, but I love it.
It's a piece of the original meteor.
Yeah.
See, that's good. So what you say now is that's good. That's very good.
Sure.
Nextly, Mario and Luigi are assaulted by the various citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom because they're all very mean. And the meteorite shard is taken from Mario by a very voluptuous woman.
Lizard?
No, she is a lady. She's wearing a big red jumpsuit. And we later learned that her name is Big Bertha. Ethan, do you know what character Big Bertha is?
Big Bertha?
Uh-huh. It's a Mario character from the games.
Big Bertha does not ring a bell.
Yeah, it's a deep cut. Big Bertha is the big cheap, but not the big cheap that just floats around. It's the big cheap. It's the big cheap that shoots a tiny cheap out of her mouth.
Okay.
That's big.
Right.
Yeah,
that's Big Bertha.
When you said like in the red, I thought cheap, but then I was like, they're called cheap, so that can't be it.
Well, I was confused because she wears these rocket boots, and the boots say Thwomp on them, and she wore this red jacket that's covered in spikes, and I'm like, is she supposed to be a Thwomp? Like she'll jump on you and like squash you? But then her name's Big Bertha, which is a different thing. So she is Big Bertha.
I do like the idea of voluptuous thwomps instead.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Big mommy
she'll
thwomps.
crush me under her big feet. Her big toes will squish me down.
Don't flatten me. All right. So Big Bertha has decided that she wants this rock because it looked nice, and Bowser now has Daisy, or sorry, Koopa has Daisy, and she does not have the stone, and he really needs that. And he knows that these plumbers have him, so he puts out a wanted hit for plumbers. And so
just plumbers.
Just in general.
Yep,
okay, any plumbers.
Yep. They're looking for a pair of plumbers.
All right.
This the Great Plumber Inquisition of '93.
So the two boys, they're down on their luck, but don't worry, because they do meet a friendly citizen of the city. His name is Toad, and he's playing a rebellious song. Toad looks like he should be in a ska band, and he's playing garbage music on his guitar, but the music is about how Koopa sucks. And so the police arrest him, and then Mario goes, "Hey, you can't arrest a guy just for singing a song." And the police are like, "Yeah, we can if it's against the Koopa King." And then he's like, "Wait a second." And he looks at their belts, and they're wearing tool belts, and he's like, "These two is plumbers. Arrest them too. We're looking for plumbers." And so they arrest the three of them. And this is when it is revealed that the King Koopa has a piece of technology that he has been using to control the city. He has a chair that you sit in, and then it sticks your head into a big machine, and it's the de-evolution machine, or as they call it, Devo machine. And it reverts you to a previous iteration of your evolution. And so they take Toad, who they have captured, and they put him into the Devo machine, and they de-evolve him into a Goomba, a brainless, mindless creature that just listens to whatever they're told to do, and who look very strange and bizarre in this movie. Not like the Goombas. They're just huge men, and then they got tiny little head with big teeth inside of their mouth. And so Toad's a Goomba now, and is for the rest of the movie. He never gets turned back. He's just a Goomba now.
He's a nice Goomba.
He is a nice Goomba. He does actually help them at the end, but he retains a little bit of his previous self. But he's all of the Goombas are really stupid. That's the running joke. Actually, kind of everyone's really stupid. That's the running joke, and normally that's annoying to me, but it's really funny stupid. So I'm actually super into it.
It's a '90s movie. Yeah. That's just how that shit goes.
I really like it. But that's Koopa's whole thing. He's all about evolution and de-evolution, and he's talking about how the humans evolved bad and they're shitty, and how the Koopas are cool and reptiles should rule the world. That's his mission statement.
And that's the takeaways from the Super Mario games.
Because that's why they hate, because toadstools versus reptiles is a battle as old as time.
Yeah.
Primordial.
Yeah.
Do you understand, Ethan? Are you following?
Yeah. No, this all tracks and is good. If we could get back to our two plumbers that were arrested because they had tool belts on.
Yeah, so they're able to escape, and they steal a flamethrower gun so they can shoot fire, and it's a very cool escape sequence. But while they escape, Koopa is like, "I'm sick of you two idiots ruining my plan." He's talking to Spike and Iggy. He's like, I'm gonna show you guys what for," and he puts them into the Devo chamber. But this time, because it's a big machine that does stuff, so of course it has a switch that has like forward and reverse on it. So he puts it to advance instead of devolve. He evolves Spike and Iggy, and now they're very smart. Except they're both still kind of bumbling fools, but now they just speak with great eloquence, which makes them amazing characters. I love them. First, they're idiots who can't do anything right, and then they become really smart guys who can't do anything right. And they're just like, "It seems that my intellect has been advanced tremendously." They just talk like that for the rest of the movie. Very funny. I love these two. But the Mario Brothers do get away, but they're in the big, vast desert that exists outside the city limits. And the new smart Spike and Iggy have to go chase them down. So while all this is happening, Daisy's getting her big hit of exposition because the evil people are just, expounding on their plans and such. So Daisy learns that her mother was an influential figure amongst the people and that she was getting too politically powerful. And so Koopa was going to have her killed, but she was able to steal away to the regular world and trap Koopa inside of the dinosaur world so they couldn't follow him or they couldn't follow her. And so they brought the meteorite shard with them because the meteor is the link, but the portal between the worlds. So when she took the meteor fragment away from the meteor, the portal closed and they could no longer cross over.
Except for Spike and Iggy.
Yes. and so, listen, I didn't think about that. And so, so Koopa is like, I'm gonna use, because I guess also she holds the key to reuniting the meteor pieces together. And she also literally has the key. She's both the key and the key. She has the key and she is the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Does Big Bertha still have the necklace, by the way?
Yes.
Big Bertha took it? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right.
So Daisy's like, so you did away with my mother. Where is my father? Is he dead too? And then Koopa goes, he's around. And that's all he says about her father. And then
is it implied that he's her father?
No, he's not, and he's not. So it's
okay.
But that's not what it is. And then, but good. I mean, it could be. Who knows? And then Koopa is married to a woman named Lena, who's not a reference to any video game thing. And I didn't bring her up because she's not important. And then she dies in a funny way at the end, and that's all it is. Lena. So. The bros did escape. The mushroom fungus keeps trying to give them a little present. It's a tiny little bomb. But the bros keep kind of just being like, or Mario's just like, forget about it, Luigi. We gotta get out of here. And so they keep ignoring it. But while Daisy is locked up, she also meets another captive, a little baby Yoshi, who's just a little dinosaur, just a little cutie. I like the Yoshi in this movie. It's so cute.
I like that Yoshi, Spider-Man.
And Yoshi is just a little dino with thumbs, I guess. It's the skeleton that she, it's the dinosaur that's the skeleton in the real world.
I guess that tracks.
Yeah, he holds stuff.
Yoshi got thumbs. Okay, sure.
Exactly. So I will say the one thing about this movie that drags on is that basically people are getting captured and escape constantly. That's kind of the plot of the movie. But all that really matters is that Daisy escapes with the help of Yoshi. Yoshi tries to eat Bowser's wife. She does not get eaten, but then she stabs Yoshi, which is very sad. But he's fine, apart from being stabbed. Okay. But he lives. But Daisy escapes, and the Mario Brothers are caught up to by Spike and Iggy, but instead of getting captured, they capture Spike and Iggy, and then they make a deal. They'll be like, all right, listen, we know where the meteor necklace is. We'll trade that for Daisy. And they're like, yes, stupendous. This sounds like an amazing exchange. and then they're like, all right, so they're working together now. And so the four of them are going to the club where Big Bertha hangs out. And then Daisy is trying to escape from Bowser. Right. So this is where it gets really weird and like R-rated, like Fran was talking about. And there's people dancing around in like bikinis and like showing off their ass and shit. And it's just a really good party.
That's what Disney likes.
And then this is where Mario uses his Mario charms to seduce Big Bertha. And he says, oh, you a big lady. And then she punches him and he's like, oh, could you punch me again? I do love the feeling of your fist scraping against my face. And then she's like, come dance with me, big boy. And then the two of them dance. And he uses his nimble fingers to steal back the meteor. And then
nimble plumbing fingers.
And then starts to run away. But then they're captured again by the police. And they get the meteorite fragment. But they're able to escape because Big Bertha has been seduced by Mario. And so she helps them escape. And she says, you should take those rocket boots and use those. So this is the canonical reason that the Mario brothers can jump so high. They got rocket shoes on their feet that help them jump so high.
Called thwomps.
Right.
They say thwomp on them, but they're called rocket boots. But yes, they do help them jump high.
All right.
Thwomp. Thwomp is the name of my rocket boots and also my favorite sexual position. I'm Mario.
All right. So the two of them use the rocket boots to get back into the Koopa Castle, his big building. And they meet up with Daisy, and again, they all keep getting separated and saving each other, and Mario goes and saves Daniela and all the other girls that got kidnapped because they've all just been in prison the whole time.
Oh, okay.
He goes and saves all of them, and there's all sorts of stuff. Listen, I'm not going to go beat for beat because, again, it's just them running around doing adventure stuff, like outwitting the Goombas and stuff like that. At one point, they find a locker, and they're like, look, brother, some new clothes we can wear because we should switch clothes. And he's like, okay. And then they wear the iconic overalls and different colored shirts and their hats. So they just found some random old plumber equipment that they're using.
Good.
They use their plumbing skills many times to outwit the enemy. It's a lot about plumbing. And then turns out that Spike and Iggy are, now that they are enlightened and have a larger brain, they have become dissonants to the Koopa Empire, and they are now in full support of the old regime, which they reveal to Daisy is King Toadstool. And then they say to Daisy, we know where your father is. He's here. And they lead her into a throne room. And on the throne is a big pile of fungus. That's right.
Yeah.
All of the fungus that is around the city is the previous King Toadstool, who has been transformed into a King Toadstool.
Oh. Good. The de-evolution, right? Now he's devolved.
So I don't. His name is not actually King Toadstool, but he is a king. And he is the toadstool.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from.
I like conceptually that not Bowser, but Koopa, that he just keeps trying to de-evolve the mushroom and it just becomes a worse form of mushroom.
Yeah.
It's like if I keep de-evolving these mushrooms, eventually they will stop being horrible spread across my entire city mushroom. I speak like this also.
He's a bad leader, but his main plan, we find out, is he wants to remerge the two universes and invade the human world and devolve them all back into stupid apes so that the reptile people can rule the world and have all the nice resources. That's his big master plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's for resources.
Because things aren't going
like most wars.
Right. Well, things aren't going so good ever since the last king got turned into a big toadstool.
Weird.
Which is what he did.
Yeah.
So,
who would have thought that plan would have gone wrong?
But yeah, Spike and Iggy are against fascism now, and so they're helping out and helping Daisy escape, and the brothers are doing stuff. While all this is happening, I just want to give you guys some of my favorite quotes from this instead of going through the whole thing. Mario says to Luigi, "Stop fiddling with the fungus and let's get out of here." I like that when he says that. He goes, "I got 2 words for you. Impossible." I like that because it sounds like Phil from Hercules. And then Luigi goes, "How are we gonna get up there?" And then Mario says, "Ingeniously, like Mario's." Cut to next scene where they're taking the elevator. So like it's
okay.
you know, yeah, no, we've got a lot of good stuff in there. Anyway, all of this conflict merges to a head as all of the groups converge. Mario is fighting Koopa. Daisy is trying to escape from the police, and Luigi's trying to help her. And they're able to reunite the meteor with the meteor fragment, thus reopening the portal. And Bowser and Mario are teleported into the regular world as very frighteningly the Twin Towers are teleported away into the other world in a scene where the Twin Towers just kind of dissolve because they've been Thanos snapped.
Only parts of it dissolved. Like half
Yeah,
of it dissolved.
it was a little surprising to see that.
And that's why it's on the internet.
I was not ready for that, but it was part of the movie. And Bowser sees all the humans and he's like, I hate these humans. And Anthony Scapelli's there and he's like, who the hell are you? And then he gets devolved into a monkey wearing a suit. And so that's Scapelli gone. He was a dick and a businessman. He didn't do anything illegal, technically, I don't think, but I guess he had those guys like, break the archaeological dig site. So he was a bad dude. I don't know if he deserved to get turned into a monkey.
Standard businessman, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I guess all the rich deserve to get turned into monkeys and
Eat the rich.
Yep, exactly. But Luigi is able to pry the fragment of the meteor back out of the meteor, and this teleports Bowser and Mario back into the Mushroom Kingdom, where Mario uses the gift that the mushroom had been trying to give them all along, the Bob-omb, to blow up Bowser. And then
is just it's a ridiculously tiny Bob-omb.
It is.
It's
the size of
it's a hand size.
Yeah, it's very
it's like
small.
Golf ball size.
Yeah, it's like a golf ball. It's very small and cute, but it explodes Bowser, and then they use his own de-evolution ray to de-evolve him back into primordial slime, which is a pretty brutal way to kill a person.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of all resolved. Daisy's like, I'll take over here. I'm going to send the Mario brothers back into their world. And
Dad turns back into
they re-evolve the old King Toadstool back into a man. And he is presumably going to fix all the problems, and the worlds become divided once more. But the Mario brothers have saved the day and reunited Daisy with her father and her people.
And then they do a sting for another movie because they were like, surely this one will be so successful.
This movie ends with they're like, oh, I wonder what Daisy's up to. And then she bursts into the room and they're like, Mario Brothers, you gotta help me. And they're like, oh boy, what is it now? And she's like, you'll never believe this. Cut to credits, movie over. What an amazing end to the movie. If they don't start this new movie by acknowledging the end of this movie, then I don't want to see it, because it has to be a sequel. We've already established the canon lore of the Mario series. Well, that's the Mario movie for you, Ethan. Yeah. You should really watch it. I think you're really gonna like it.
I'm probably gonna pass on that. I believe you. I appreciate
How else will you understand the sequel that's released 30 years later, as many Hollywood movies these days?
Exactly.
Right. Well, luckily, I have a certain podcast I listen to that helps me to understand such things.
A podcast that helps you with the lore of your favorite media?
Oh, you thought I meant this? Yeah.
Oh, right. You're talking about game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, yeah, that is going to be the end of this one. This is, I hope, gets you up to speed on all the things you need to know about Mario before the new Mario movie comes out. You will have the most knowledge of all your friends about Mario having listened to this podcast. This, of course, will ostracize you from them. But knowledge is a terrible curse, as we here at the Lore You Know all too well.
We have most certainly cursed you with this one.
But we do want to thank you for joining us again. We're doing it, guys. We have a lot more content lined up in the barrel. I know that there's been some. I've heard through the grapevine that maybe we're gonna do a Digimon 2 episode coming up pretty soon. I'm looking forward to that. But we have all sorts of things in the meantime to tide you over. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's great. Why don't you give us a like and subscribe, and also check out some of the other stuff we make. We make other content too. It's shorter and has video games on them because they're Let's Plays, and it's just me and Ethan having a lot of fun. We also have a stream at twitch.tv/cookingwithspices. We were just playing some Mario games over there to celebrate the recent Mario holiday. We play all sorts of things over there. Why don't you check us out? We also have a Twitter at Spices With if you want to keep up to date. There's links to all this stuff in the descriptions. Come on, guys. You know how this works. Apart from that, I mean, we just need to thank the people who made all this possible, like Galestorm Kitsune, who made all the artwork for this podcast, and Apaja, who made the intro and outro song. A song as iconic, I would say, as the Mario theme song. I would say they're at about the same level.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that how we do outros?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, then we say our names, and then I try to say something funny that we go into as the credits fade out.
Oh, okay. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do like more plugs? Do we have any sponsors? Did you check our sponsorship? Like, is there the sponsorship pile?
I believe the NRA keeps asking us to do a thing, but
that one's pretty good. I think. I mean, I tried to get Nintendo on board. They have not returned my phone calls. And I've tried to convince them I'm a fan. I like talk like this to them, describing their own movies to them, and they are just not picking up.
I keep bringing up the Mario movie, and somehow that doesn't seem to get through.
Right, which I thought would, because recent events, but I guess not. So, nothing there, huh? Well, Fran, any sage advice before we sign off? You're always
just like I said before, just try not to ask women out when they're under duress,
or at all.
Probably
never ask a woman out. Just don't. it's not a good time.
It's safer that way.
Yeah, it's safer for everybody. Well, until next time, guys, I have been CJ,
and I've been Ethan,
and I've been Fran,
and
Mario, I can't help but notice you've been crushed by that same thwomp 30 times now.
Luigi, look away, Luigi! Don't look at me!
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Don't judge me, Luigi.